Hello. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So, um, just kind of quickly, we're going to talk to a couple of things today. Uh, I had a lady last night send me this amazing piece, and it was wow. I'm going to read it to you because it's just so powerful. And she was talking about um, you know, um, the alcoholism, and it was kind of a. She sent me this last night on a as a comment on a post that I'd made in a group, and she says all addictive behavior is the same. Social programs and government have dissected it all endlessly, shuffling money back and forth between treatment and incarceration depending on what's trending. And we still have the same addictions we've always had. No amount of redundant information regurgitated by our minds to each other has ever made one bit of difference. Interesting, eh? Addiction is evidence of denial of self. Addiction is evidence of denial of self. We start out very connected to who we really are and our source, right? We don't know how not to be. It doesn't take long, and members of our environment lead us away from that. We learn slowly but surely how not to be. We enter the game of hide and seek. We lose touch with ourselves and spend the rest of our lives looking for ourselves again. We try everything the world has to offer to feel that wholeness again. We latch onto things that seem to get us there to fill the hole, but they don't. Some things we try kill us, some hurt us. Some keep us propped up long enough to finally die, so so we can meet our maker. We hope. The mind relentlessly becomes one of those addictions that won't release us because it has to survive. It has to keep us hooked and hiding from source. If we're fortunate enough to hit the wall or for some other reason we halt the mind long enough to sense ourselves, even if only for a moment, we know that we are found again. It's only when we are free of the prison of our mind that we are once again aware of who we truly are. We're able to participate in life in this present moment. We can know what we have always known about God or love or joy or peace, right? We can be creative and generate original thoughts again. We can become as a child again. And in that timeless mode, there is no pain, no need for addictive behavior. Beautifully written, just this beautiful. And so I just thought I would read that to you because, um, you know, it's my experience that addiction is a, from my point of view, is a spiritual malady. I believe with all my heart that we're spiritual beings, and I think it doesn't matter who I sit with, and I sit with lots of guys one on one, and I ask them, often we're in a quiet space, and I'll say, do you think there's a possibility that you are a spiritual being having a human experience? And 9 out of 10 people will say yes, yes, I think that's true. And so that's pretty good. That's like at least 90% will say yes. Yeah, I guess so. I don't really understand it, but I guess that's true. That I'm some sort of a spiritual being having a human experience. And the next question, because it's easy for me to when I'm sharing with somebody to kind of take them back to day one. Have you ever been in the room when a child is born? And if you've ever been in the room when a child is born, you feel this energy. It's like, oh my God. I mean that literally. It's like, oh my God. And so when I'm talking with somebody from there we go from that about that experience, they're like, yes, yes, I've seen that. I felt that. I've even, kind of felt it even when a puppy was born. It's like there's something. this amazing love that's there, this sense of something beyond us that's there. And so uh, if that's the case, then that was there when we came in. We that was in the experience. It wasn't, we weren't separate from anything. We were one with everything. And science tells us that, as an infant, we don't discern any separation. We don't feel any separation. We don't see, I think, see or recognize separation for quite some time. And so, so the idea of us being a spiritual being, or at least connected to something, beyond what we can conceive, is reachable for most everybody that I work with, and what I believe happens, and happened to me, is that there was a lot of pain as in my youth, which was felt like it was because of that separation. It was like there was something missing. I used to call it the God hole. I did. It was like where and I had this tightness in my gut all the time, and so I was talking to another chap later in the evening last night, and he was, talking about the disease as what we call in the 12 steps a spiritual malady. And um, so in separation, basically, from the one. And the lady who wrote that note just that I just read, recognizes that for the most part, the prognosis is good, not good. We don't get back to that awareness, that consciousness, unless we really, really, really seek it. And it seems that way, that we have to be open, we have to be willing, we have to be honest that we are separate. We have to stop playing the game of of persona. Don't you know who I am? I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit who I think I am. Who I thought I was, it was not true. I had a whole series of identities, and so I recognize that through the process of letting go of that story about me, that and the story wasn't just, oh, I'm a great guy. The story was, I'm a shit. They're all just stories, and to get down to this place of humbling, ego deflation in depth, and I'm not that. And what's there is natural. We don't have to create or imagine it. It is there. It's natural, and it's this oneness, this peace, this love, this joy that is there in that moment. And that's what we're missing. That's what the alcoholic and the addict is searching for. And that's why they used to call booze spirits, because we found that our connection, even if it was just for a few minutes. And the so people say, oh, I'm not interested in that. Lots of times I hear folks say, I'm not interested in that God business, and when they want to recover. And even family says, I don't have to look. But, if you're a family of an addict or an alcoholic and you're in pain because of fear of, what's going to happen to them and concern for them, and, the only place where our natural power is, where our knowing is, where our intuition is, where our creativity is, where our bliss is in this space of surrender. So um, when you have that, when we have that, we become attractive. You know, even your alcoholic addict, brother or mother or son, husband, you know, whoever that person is in your family can see that if you've taken the time to sit quietly and find that peace. That's the deal. So take the time, sit quietly, begin the search, and we're not looking for something that isn't already ours. We're not trying to create something. We don't need concepts for it. We're not trying to find a religion. It's already ours. We are that. So that's the thing. I spent many years in recovery looking for that outside of me. and because there was such a block in my psyche around this, spiritual, which was the spiritual malady, is separation, and so I mean, I did get to not use and drink for many years, and had, what many would call an amazing life, but this connection, this realization, this oneness, you know, it's so not a big deal. It's an amazing deal, but it's already there. It's not like, oh gosh, he made it, he attained, or he awakened, and it's already there for all of us. So anyway, but the addict and the alcoholic are more motivated. Yes, we are, because we're killing ourselves, and so that's a motivation, isn't it? Okay, what day is it? It's the 11th of March. March the 11th. We're going to read from our little daily reading book. And, I don't know sometimes if I go too far when I talk about, spirituality or consciousness or awareness, and, um, you know, but if, what would be the sense of talking about other things? We don't need even a practice, although practice helps. We don't need therapy, although therapy can help. You know, we need to sit and be quiet, watch the mind, because what's happening is all the stories in the mind, and we start to let go of that, and we be with that one. There's no doing necessary. There's no going anywhere. So it's pretty simple, but um, so in a lot of the teachings, we kind of talk around it, and as if there's something to do. Anyway, simple, baby. Um, March 11th, thought for the day. By having quiet times, he says, look at this. By having quiet times each morning, we come to depend on God's help during the day. This is from the little book, the 24-hour day book that I've been reading for a while. Especially if we should be tempted to take a drink. And we can honestly thank him each night for the strength he has given us. So our faith is strengthened by these quiet times of prayer, by listening to our members, by working with other alcoholics, by times of quiet meditation. Our faith in God gradually becomes strong. So, and I even challenge that in a way, because it's less, it's a faith and more of a relationship. Okay, we're not talking about, and we don't have to call it anything. Sometimes we get confused because we call it something. We have a concept. We call it God. We call it Father. We call it universal intelligence. So um, because with the mind we need to call it something, but it's a concept. Those are concepts. So don't get hooked on the concept. Don't get hooked on the name. Just like he says, sit quietly and know. You know, um, it was interesting. I watched a video the other day of Carl Gustav Jung. Jung was a great psychologist, psychiatrist of the turn of the century, early 19th century or 20th century, and the interviewer said, "Do you believe in God?" And he said, "Well, no, no." He said, "I don't believe in God. I know God." And so he was living the experience, and that's what happens. And if you actually do the 12 steps in depth, it's a pathway to the experience. There are many pathways to the experience, by the way. There are many pathways, and so I encourage you, because we are, I believe, spiritual beings having a human experience, and somehow we we got disconnected, and our pain is that disconnection. Meditation for the day. It seems as though when God wants to express to men what he is like, he makes a very beautiful character. Yes. Think of the personality of a personality as God's expression of character attributes. Be as fit an expression of godlike character as you can. When the beauty of a man's character is impressed upon us, it leaves an image, which in turn reflects through our own actions. So look for beauty of character in those around you. Hey, wow. Where is God not? He shines through everybody. If we look. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may look at great souls until that beauty of character becomes a part of my soul. I pray that I may reflect this character in my own life. Be that divine. Be that divine, right? Okay, we're just going to sit for a couple of minutes. We're going to have a little quiet time, okay? You know, the reason I do this every day after the reading is just to as a practice, to lead you into this. It's not complicated. It really isn't. You don't have to do a lot to meditate or to sit quietly, to contemplate. Just find a space. I mean, I'm just sitting on the edge of my couch, and my body is balanced quite well, and there's nothing to do. Just sit, close your eyes, and with closing the eyes, we just kind of shut off one of the major um, uh, the eyes are kind of how we experience the outside world, and so when we close the eyes, we can then drop into the inside world, and in the inside world is such vastness. It's not just in the body, although sometimes we have to come into the body to be here. We come into our feet, we come into our legs, and we feel our body, and that brings us into the moment. But in as we come deeper into this, there's an expansion. There's a quietness, a stillness, and an expansion. So we just come into the breath. Just going to have a very short practice. Just drop in, be here now. And as we do this kind of daily, sometimes the old mind will complain and tell you it's too busy, and my God, you don't have time for this. And because mind is afraid. Mind is afraid that it's going to lose control. It may lose the manager's job. But those of us who are in recovery recognize that the mind has to lose the manager's job. It was never designed to be the manager. It took over the job because we had lost connection with our true manager. It's okay. You can tell it that it's safe. As we reconnect with our spiritual sense, with our oneness, we'll know intuitively what needs to happen in our lives. We'll find our purpose. We'll find peace. We will know peace. We are peace. Struggles will fall away. We'll have a sense of calm. It'll walk with us every day. I'm just going to leave you guys now. You can certainly stay in this space. I'm just going to go. The longer you stay in this, the more often you come back to this space. The more you become aware of the stillness, the oneness, the love, the peace that already exists. It's already in each and every one of us. Okay, love you lots. Thank you.